open book for Ray Leonard. Backs up against the ropes.
This is one of the most unusual calls by a referee in the history of the sport.
The first loss. A tremendous victory. Leonard fighting off the ropes.
It happened. It happened. Uppercut by Douglas. Down goes Tyson.
Hooks in right hand shot.
Excellent. Knocks out Mike Tyson.
Slumps to the canvas.
The champion struggles to stay on his feet.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
Hello, I'm Jim Lampley. Welcome to this look back at the stories behind Hagler-Leonard, one of the most memorable fights in 30 years of boxing on HBO. Life, we're fond of saying, is unfair. And even unfairer it sometimes seems in the game of fame and fortune. Why is it some great fighters become stars and others, perhaps equally great, are largely ignored in the world beyond the ropes? Never did a prize fight more graphically underline this inequity than in 1987, when Ray Leonard made his most memorable comeback against marvelous Marvin Hagler.
Today, people still will argue who won the fight. I don't care who you're with. A Hagler and Leonard fight comes up. It's the conversation for the night.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
I know I won the fight. He believes he won the fight.
Everyone says, you know, Hagler, I picked you. I want to know. I says, how did I lose this fight then?
Both fighters think they won the fight.
The decision announced on April 6, 1987, assured one man's ascent to greatness, confirming the unfortunate fate of another. But for Sugar Ray Leonard and marvelous Marvin Hagler, the bad blood goes back to the beginning of a long road of disparity. Their conflicting journeys date back to the amateurs, as the show-stealing Leonard embarked upon the golden road to the 1976 Olympic Games. Hagler, an amateur champion eager for a payday, turned professional only to be humbled with $50 fights in obscure arenas.
Nobody ever thought of Marvin Hagler as a potential champion. I mean, probably not for the first 5 or 6 years of his career. Ray Leonard, coming out of the Olympic Games, was groomed to be a champion. There was no question about it. He was the golden boy.
Ray wins the gold medal, and he's America's hero, and he gets $40,000 for his first fight. Marvin made $50. This guy makes $40,000. He's on CBS, and Hagler's looking, saying, you know, what about me?
The skids were greased for Ray, and Marvin, when he have nothing. All he was this tough, working class, take your lunch pail to work, blue collar, tough guy fighter from Rocky Marciano's hometown of Brockton, Massachusetts.
I think Marvin Hagler resented the fact that he had to slog the hard road to get recognition. He had to fight 40 or 50 fights before people would agree that he was a pretty good fighter.
Well, I never had nothing easy in my life in the boxing game. Always had to keep jumping hurdles after another hurdle, or always another hurdle.
After 6 long years and 49 professional fights, an embittered Hagler was desperate for a shot at the title.
This is a feature attraction of the afternoon.
But to Hagler's dismay, his first shot came on the undercard of Sugar Ray Leonard's first welterweight championship bout in 1979.
Introducing the challenger, marvelous Marvin Hagler.
And the inequity of Leonard's $1 million paycheck and Hagler's $40,000 purse continued to fuel the envy of a brawler fighting for respect.
Vito stunned by a Hagler right.
Yet despite a damaging performance requiring multiple stitches in Vito Antuofermo's face, Hagler's dream of becoming middleweight champion fell short.
The decision is a draw.
It's a draw.
Antuofermo is skilled.
Vito retains the title. Good Lord, they called it a draw.
A very popular Sugar Ray Leonard.
Later that night, Leonard's impressive victory over Wilfredo Benitez only enhanced the celebrity of an already adored star. Hagler's hard road to the title finally ended a year later in London, England, with a gory 3-round TKO of Britain's own Alan Minter. But an enraged arena robbed the new champion of his long-drawn moment to shine.
And Hagler's on his knees, acclaiming his victory. Some people are throwing beer cans. One's landed on me. Beer cans are being hurled in all over the ring.
That's one of the things that disappointed Marvin, because he didn't get to walk around the ring and have the fans show him their approval. Didn't happen.
Now determined to stay on top, Hagler unleashed an endless string of consecutive knockouts, each one concluding in the celebration of his beloved belt.
To be middleweight champion of the world meant everything to Marvin Hagler. That was what it was all about for him.
It was his announcement to the world that he was somebody and meant something.
In the meantime, America's sweetheart, Sugar Ray Leonard, danced down a celebrated road of psychological savvy, avenging his only professional loss by frustrating the great Roberto Duran into quitting. Then dazzling fans with a potent encore against the hitman, Thomas Hearns.
And that's all. It's over, and Ray Leonard is the undisputed welterweight champion of the world against the...
By 1981, the undisputed king of boxing was exceeding the purses of heavyweights and basking in the affection of infinite fans.
Wow, was that the shit? No, that's just my dad.
But a fight between boxing's contrasting champions now seemed imminent.
It was obvious that, they had to get together. You had Sugar Ray, the pretty boy, the ABC kid, the flurry, the flash, the sizzle. And you got Marvin, Marvin just plugging along, mean, furious, leaving carnage behind him.
Ray wanted to walk down the street and people say, there's Ray Leonard, he's the greatest fighter that ever lived. And the way he could get there was by beating Marvin Hagler, the most menacing man within his realm. And it became an obsession with him, I think. It was interrupted, this obsession. It was interrupted by the detached retina.
The discovery of Leonard's detached retina in June of '82 was initially considered a career-ending eye injury. But with advanced medical treatment, doctors gave Leonard the green light to continue fighting. But the pull of public opinion proved stronger than medicine.
I was 25 years old. I didn't want to quit. But because of who I was, there was mass hysteria that I was willing to risk my eyesight.
You see, man, you got to be crazy. You got to be stupid. Come on, we're going to fight again. You can go blind. You got enough money, got a nice family, give it up.
If Ray Leonard does decide that's enough, I've had it, I'm not going to have a go at Marvin.
You got to make some of that money. I'm tired of people telling me how generous he is and how good friends we go. If I'm such a good friend, give me that big payday then. That's what we want. We want to show real artists and everything else out there, and I believe that it's us that can do it. All right.
I like that. Mike trying to sign me up.
With Hagler's hopes running high, Leonard invited Muhammad Ali, Howard Cosell, and 10,000 other friends and fans to a gala ceremony in Baltimore's Civic Center. For Hagler's camp, the personal request of their presence could only mean one thing.
We figured that he invited us down to make the official announcement to the world that he was going to challenge Marvin Hagler.
And as I stand here, in 1 second, I'll tell you exactly what I'm going to do.
And we sat there with that anticipation as Leonard led us down the primrose path.
To Marvin Hagler, a fight with this great man, this great champion, could be one of the greatest fights in the history of boxing.
And when we got to the end of the primrose path, he cut off our head.
But unfortunately, it'll never happen. Thank you, and God bless you all. Thank you.
It was like just a backhander across the face to Marvin. You fool. You fool. You came all the way down here thinking I was going to give you this.
There it is. Sugar Ray Leonard has retired, and God bless him. He had nothing more ever to prove.
Marvin never, ever forgave him for that. To this day, you say Ray Leonard and you duck if you're with Marvin Hagler.
Would you have liked to fight him? Sure. That's an opportunity that I'm going to miss, but I believe he'll be back.
Though Leonard's life continued ringside, commentating on the accolades of others didn't sit well for a champion still in his prime.
Well, we talk about just how marvelous Marvin Hagler was tonight, Ray.
Ray is a guy who needs the spotlight. He's got to have the spotlight.
I said, you know what? This is not fair. Because I wanted to fight Marvin Hagler. And I figured that my legacy was cut short.
Ray wanted to fight. And if he wasn't in the ring, if he wasn't fighting, if he wasn't training for a fight, Ray was not happy.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Leonard's short-lived return in 1984 against an unranked journeyman named Kevin Howard had Hagler on hand to witness the first knockdown of Leonard's career.
And a right hand from Kevin Howard put Sugar Ray Leonard right on the seat of his pants.
Leonard rallied quickly to stop Howard in the ninth, but the damage to his pride appeared career-ending.
It's just not there. I have retired for good.
Leonard's departure for the second time finally left room for a marvelous main event, and 1985's epic three-round war against Thomas Hearns at long last cemented Hagler's coveted place in the spotlight.
This one is history. Marvin Hagler, a tremendous victory.
That was really his coming out party, and that's what made him a superstar.
One should grab oneself one of these Red Guard sports sticks because one would hate to be considered malodorous by one's chums. Now, wouldn't one?
But once Marvin started to get national commercials and these kind of things that put him at that Ray Leonard level, then you knew that he had broken through and he was going to stay on top.
My God, Tim, what punishment this Mugabe's taking, and he's still there.
Reveling in the twilight of his career, Hagler's 12th consecutive title defense came in 1986 at the demise of John the Beast Mugabe. But while most witnessed a raging battle, one man sitting ringside saw only opportunity.
It was one of the most brutal, physically exhausting, physically damaging fights I have ever seen.
He's got him hurt. He's got him hurt. Mugabe finally goes down.
11th round, Marvin drops Mugabe. And Mugabe sat up like, to hell with this. I'm not getting up. I can't beat the man. And when the ref said 10, Ray stood up, he looked at me and said, I can beat him, I'm going to fight him.
People ask me, "So you coming back?" I said, "No, I'm not coming back." But if Marvin Hagler called me, I consider something like that.
Wait about it.
I'm not saying, no, JB, listen, we're talking here. I'm not saying I'm coming back. I said, if he should call me, it's something I could really consider.
I was home watching TV. They said Sugar Ray Leonard will be fighting Marvin Hagler. I said, what?
You may or may not have heard that Mr. Leonard to my left has said that he will come out of retirement to fight Marvin Hagler if Marvin Hagler will fight him.
I called my brother. I said, Ray, is that true? He said, yeah. I said, well, who's going to be the warm-up guy? He said, I ain't got no warm-up fight. I'm going straight to him.
But the now 32-year-old Hagler wasn't as anxious as before. Undefeated for 11 years, and just 2 victories short of matching the record 14 middleweight title defenses, the veteran champion took his turn to play games.
And now there's talk that you might not fight him. Is that true?
Well, right now it's really hitting a lot of press. I think basically just has an ego. He's on an ego trip or something. Maybe a little jealousy, or he's missing the limelight a little bit. But the way that I feel about it, I'm just going to sit back and I'm just going to lick my chops. Like that, and just wait.
Marvin, it took a long time to convince him to take the fight. He didn't need the fight. He could retire. But such was the power of Ray Leonard that once he started banging the drum, everyone was calling out Marvin Hagler. Aren't you going to fight him? The guy's been retired for all these years. You got to fight him.
Goody, my father said, Marvin, let's fight him, beat him, and go off into the sunset.
After that, I really would have said, okay, I achieved everything that I wanted in this boxing life, and now I can retire and live happily ever after. What a great story, That's what I was hoping for.
Ain't nothing else to it.
To most boxing experts, Hagler's fairy tale ending seemed secure against a 30-year-old ring-rusted Leonard in his first ever fight as a middleweight.
I don't care how good somebody is, it is almost impossible to conceive of somebody coming back at this level after a virtual 5-year and 50-day layoff and fighting at a world championship level.
And it was almost like, like going to a hanging. I mean, people were thinking Ray Leonard's not going to win this fight, and, we're just watching an execution here.
Marvin was ferocious, and people knew it. And now Sugar Ray was going to find out.
Sugar Ray Leonard making his way out of the dressing room and toward the ring. What must be going through this man's mind?
The march to the ring with Ray was, we realized it was something special going to happen here tonight. You could feel it.
The focus naturally is on Ray because he is the question mark. He is the mystery.
Ray had said, there's a couple of things I want you to do during the course of the fight. He said, I want you to say dip and slide. He said, then I want you to let me know when it's 30 seconds.
So you yell 30 seconds before each round ends. because I was still around by throwing a lot of punches.
It wasn't until the fighters were actually seen and the ring walk started that there was just this palpable burst of energy. It filled the arena.
This is the main event of the night.
You couldn't help it. You were caught up in the emotion of this fight.